For an interlaced chain stitch, we're just going to start by making a regular chain stitch with whatever our base thread is. And I'm just going to just show this very briefly. I start with like a lazy daisy. And there, I do have a video for the chain stitch, so I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on that. I'm going to make my chain stitch however long I want it. Okay, I finished my chain and I did just kind of a funky one so that I can show you that it works on curves as well as straight. I have switched to a tapestry needle because other than at the beginning and the end, I will not be going through the fabric. I will be threading through my chain stitches. I also have switched my thread. I'm using a metallic just to show that you can use kind of fussy thread for the lacing process. So I'm going to come up. This is where I first started my chain, the very same point. So I come up. I'm not going to go through the first one. I'm going to skip down to the second chain stitch. And I'm going, it really doesn't matter. We're going to do one side and then the other. So whichever side you want to start with. I'm going to go from the outside under that second chain stitch just on the side I'm lacing to the inside. So I'm going under just the one side of the stitch from outside to inside, pull my thread through, and then I am going to go from inside to outside on the stitch right above that, pull my thread through. Now I'm going to skip this one that I already went in through, so I'm going to skip down to the next one that has nothing in it. I'm going to go from the outside to the inside under the one side of that stitch, pull the thread through, and then I'm going to go back up to the stitch right above that, and I'm going to go from inside to outside, and I'm going under that laced stitch as well. That's sitting on the outside edge there. Going to pull through. Then I skip down to the next stitch that nothing was in it, from outside to inside. Then back up to the stitch above it, inside to outside, under my lace thread as well. I am using a fussy thread here, so I've got my two strands separated. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to skip down to the next chain that I haven't done anything in, outside to inside, and then the one above that, inside to outside under both my chain stitch and one side of my chain stitch and my lacing thread, and skip down to the next stitch, outside to inside, go back up to the stitch above that, inside to outside, and you are welcome to turn your work as you go. It will probably be a little easier that way. The next stitch, outside to inside. So I'm always going through a new stitch that hasn't been gone through yet when I'm doing the outside to inside, and then I'm going the inside to outside under both the chain stitch and the thread that I'm lacing with. Next one. So I'm going to keep doing that until I get down to the end. I'm down to the end. This is the only stitch I haven't gone through at least once yet. So I'm going to go outside to inside, and then the one above it, inside to outside under both the chain stitch and the lacing thread. And then I'm just going to take my needle down at the end of the chain and finish off on the back. We're going to repeat the same process for the other side. So I'm going to bring my needle out at the beginning of my chain again, same spot as where I started the last time. Going to skip the first stitch, go down to the second one, and bring my needle from outside to inside. Then I'm going to go back up to the stitch above that and go from inside to outside, and I am working on the side that I haven't already laced. My needle goes under both the thread of the chain stitch and the lace stitch. So I skip down the stitch I've already been through, The next one from outside to inside, then inside to outside on the stitch above it, skip down to the next stitch, outside to inside, the one above it, inside to outside, skip down to the next one. I haven't been in on this side, and there I lost one strand, threaded my needle. Going to go to the stitch above it, inside to outside under both the chain stitch and the lace thread, skip down to the next one, outside to inside, so I just keep alternating all the way down. And do feel free to turn your work. I've been through that one, so I'm going to skip down to this one. Go back up through the one above it from inside to outside. Skip down, outside to inside, back to the one above it, inside to outside. We're just going to work all the way down this. So it gives your chain stitch a nice two-tone effect, and with a metallic I'm getting some sparkle on it without having to run the metallic through the fabric. And I will finish it off exactly the same way when I get to the end. Two more links to go. Inside to outside, outside to inside, inside to outside, and you're always working just through one side of your chain stitch. And my last one is outside to inside, and then inside to outside on the one above it, and take your needle down at the end of your chain stitch and your thread to the back and finish it off.